This podcast contains explicit and politically incorrect content.
Welcome to Tales of a New York limo driver, sex, excess, and stupidity on four wheels, based on the best-selling book by Nikki Testaforti. Come along for over 100 stories that range from idiotic to friggin' unbelievable. Buckle up, kids, and enjoy the ride. Here's a tip for you. Never cut off a bike messenger with your driver's side window open. I'm coming up 3rd Avenue to get to the 59th Street Bridge. In front of me, a yuppie in a 7 Series BMW cuts off a messenger on a bike. The messenger recovers and speeds up to the open window, spits into the vehicle, and peels left across 55th Street. Personally, I scored the messenger 5 out of 10. I took points off for lack of aim and the inability to direct a full stream at the target, unless of course you prefer the shotgun method, which he employed. Just another taste of New York City street justice in action. You guys are fucking slobs. The following 5 stories prove that there are some drivers you're better off not traveling with. A smelly driver with disheveled clothes and a car that rattled, who was eating a pungent Middle Eastern food out of a bowl in his lap while he was driving. The driver who considered the rear footwells of the car as his trash can. The landscape included coffee cups, Mickey D's wrappers, soda cans, old newspapers, and used tissues. You get the picture. The driver used a Snapple bottle as his urinal away from home. He stowed it under the front passenger seat. The problem was every time he braked, it rolled forward. Every time he accelerated, it rolled back in between the client's legs. Back and forth, back and forth. The driver opened up a sandwich wrapped in aluminum foil midway through his trip with the client in the back. He proceeded to eat while he was driving, and when he finished, he cleaned out his nose with a Q-tip. The car and driver that smelled so bad. The client asked if there was a dead animal somewhere in the car. I couldn't make this stuff up if I tried. Mommy and the Typhoid Twins. It's 6 a.m. and 12 degrees on the Tuesday before Christmas. I backed down a long suburban driveway for a 6:15 pickup of a woman plus 3 extra passengers. At about 6:10, the woman came out to tell me that the bags were ready to go. Now she's the typical kept housewife. No job, 3 to 4 kids. And the most serious thing she has to deal with on a daily basis is keeping her yoga appointment. I get out of the car to fetch the bags off the porch, dump them in the trunk, and out comes a boy and girl about 7 years old. The girl gets in first and dutifully puts her seatbelt on. The boy, whose jacket isn't zipped up, gets in and says, "I want mommy sit in the middle." I tell him to zip up his jacket and he says, "I don't know how." I zip it for him and then ask, "So what do you say?" And after a few seconds, he replied, "Great. No manners, and he can't zip up his damn jacket. Future pampered star material here." They both offer up that they are sick. That's fucking wonderful. Just what I need. Unpaid time off. I've got strep, the girl says with the same intonation as if she was happily announcing, "Daddy bought me a pony," which probably isn't far from the truth with these people. Not to be left out, the boy said, "I got a cold. I'm beyond thrilled that I have to detox the car after they smear the doors and windows with their germ-infested nasal secretions, turning the car into a rolling petri dish." A short while later, mommy comes out carrying an infant. I ask her if she's got a car seat for the baby. She says, "Oh no, that's too much to deal with." That's terrific. Not only do I have Cough and Wheezy sitting behind me, but I've also got an overburdened mommy holding a 30-pound, highly animated projectile in her arms. Now, if this was my company, I would refuse to move the car 1 inch until she got the car seat. But because I work for single-focus scumbags, I have to transport them, no matter what. So I take a shallow breath and head toward JFK. On the way down, the Typhoid Twins have this odd fascination with the macabre. They get very excited when we pass not one, but 2 different cemeteries. "Look, mommy, tombstones. And wow, there sure are a lot of dead people there. Any birds in flight became buzzards." I wonder what hallucinogens mommy sprinkles on their cream of wheat each morning, Or does the nanny do that job for her also? To round out this lovely joyride, I've got baby Huey using his mommy as a ladder so he can climb up on the rear deck for a better view out back. He's also very handy at locking and unlocking the doors and attempting to open his window. Mommy's clue free, as she's busy singing Christmas songs to herself and thinks this is all so cute. To be oblivious. As soon as we get to the airport, I jump out and dump their bags at the curb. I don't even bother to wait for a thank you that isn't coming. I got back in the car and got the hell out of there. On the way back, as I'm crawling in bumper-to-bumper traffic, some putz in a sob doesn't hit the brakes until after he stamps his license plate into my rear bumper. Thankfully, the physics major wasn't breaking the land speed record. Otherwise, it would have been a hellacious whiplash and more money out of my pocket, like the recent $125 double parking ticket that was unknowingly deducted from my paycheck. Technically, I was double standing with my flashers on. I saw the traffic cop coming, circled the block, came back around, and my client jumped in. Usually they don't write you up if you move, but this fool must have been scoring brownie points and working towards his quota on my account. I would have fought the ticket on a great website called parkingticket.com, but my benevolent employers pleaded guilty and paid it with my money and without my permission. Nothing like working for free. It sounds like pork barrel to me. Could somebody please explain to me why the highway authorities spend thousands of dollars to erect those digital signs designed to display updated alerts of construction, delays, or accidents, and for the most part, they are turned off, under test, or reminding you that seatbelts save lives? Thanks, but I learned that over 40 years ago. And now, please tell me why the fuck I'm sitting in dead stop traffic. Mr. Magoo's travel mug. How about the idiot I picked up one brutally cold, dark morning that dropped his glasses in the crunchy ice and snow of his driveway? The nice guy that I am, I got out and offered to help look, but 4 minus 2 eyes said, "Oh no, step back. You don't know where I dropped them, and I don't want you stepping on them." As soon as he uttered that last word, I hear a crunch, 'cause Bigfoot stepped on him himself. Well, there you go, buddy. On the way to the airport, you should have seen him squinting, trying to read the paper. He looked like Mr. Magoo. As we pulled up to the terminal, he handed me his travel mug and said, "Could you do me a favor and drop this in my mailbox?" He hands it to me half filled with coffee, and I give it right back to him saying, "First off, please dump the contents, and secondly, I cannot guarantee when or if I'll be able to get it back to you." Magoo says, "I need it back in my mailbox before the end of the day, and if that's not possible, I need you to contact me. It's a fucking travel mug, dickhead. Take it with you." So the mug spent the rest of the day with me, cavorting all over the tri-state area till I was able to find my way back to his mailbox. Earlier, I called the office, and instead of charging him a $125 return trip, he told me he does this every time he travels and they only charge him $15. Well, isn't that sweet of them? I guess I'll get barked at for not washing it for him as well. Scary looking and not too keen. This townhouse development I pull into is considered an empty nester pit stop between their mansions and their graves. Out comes the husband, a red-nosed, bloated, former 3-martini lunch executive, followed by his wife, who has an uncanny resemblance to the Bride of Frankenstein because of her tall stature, broad shoulders, skinny frame, multiple facelifts, and severe hairstyle. It should be noted that their son, who was either too cheap or just a run-of-the-mill deadbeat, got sued by the limo company for non-payment of a whopping $235 invoice. Because of that, Daddy has to provide a password to avoid paying up front like Junior has to do. After I load the bags in the trunk and get back in the car, Brunilda comes back out with 2 little handbags. She's bent over, peering into the front passenger side window, and almost scared the hell out of me. I finally realized that she wanted to deposit her stuff in the front seat. "Sorry, Fraulein, that's my office. You're not putting your crap there." So I get out and say, "Do you want that stuff in the trunk also?" "Well, somewhere," Death warmed over says. I throw her stuff in the trunk and she gets in on the right side of the car. I cringe because I have to look at her scary mug the whole way down. The husband gets in, and before I take off, I introduce myself and respectfully ask that they put their seatbelts on. The husband says, "Oh, I'm not too keen on that." "Hey, buddy, I'm not too keen on you slamming into me if some loser decides he wants to check out by crossing the double yellow and front-ending me. These fucking belligerent people always get in the car and act like they are sitting on their couch." Sounds like a good time to hit you with some airbag facts and accident stories. Go grab the popcorn. I'll wait. Airbags, seatbelts, accidents. I see a whole lot of you out there with your sweaty white-knuckle fists at 11 and 1 o'clock on the steering wheel, sitting so close it looks like it's in your lap. I was in a defensive driving course with a woman who drove like that. She got into an accident, her airbag deployed, threw her arms into her face and broke bones in her arms and face. Think you can pull yours out of the way in time? Get into a front-end collision going as slow as 8 to 14 miles an hour and your airbag will deploy at speeds up to 300 miles an hour with pressures up to 6,000 pounds per square inch. I still think you can react in time? It may look like a pillow, but it ain't soft or gentle. Imagine what would happen if you had a cigarette or lollipop in your mouth at those speeds. If you drive with both hands in that position, chances are that you're sitting too close to the wheel anyway. Practitioners of the Sicilian slouch need not concern themselves with this warning because their bodies are already reclined and relaxed. Clients without seatbelts. Story number 1. A bottom feeder in an old Lincoln town car is ripping along one night in a heavy downpour going 75 miles an hour. A bottom feeder goes over a bridge and with little time to react, slams into the stopped traffic on the other side of the bridge. Passenger 1, sitting behind the driver, was asleep. Upon impact, he flew forward and crushed the driver against the steering wheel. Passenger 2, in the right rear seat, was reading the paper. He slammed into the front seat and went through the windshield and was ejected from the car. The result? Passenger 1 sustained many broken bones and internal injuries. Passenger 2 was DOA, and the driver ended up a quadriplegic. Story number 2. Similar situation, but this time the passenger was lying down, sound asleep across the back seat. Upon impact, he rolled down into the footwells and is now paralyzed from the neck down. A little physics 101. Picture any 200-pound object shot from a cannon at 75 miles an hour hitting a stationary target. That's what all those guys experience. Story number 3. At about 2 a.m. after a very long day, I was coming back towards the office after finishing a stretch job. The dispatcher told me to head up Interstate 95 where there was an accident involving another company's stretch. They needed me to pick up the remaining passengers who hadn't already been transported in the ambulance. I get to the scene of the accident and the state troopers are waving me over. Seems as though the stretch rear-ended the car in front of them and a truck rear-ended the stretch. The left rear side of the stretch was pushed up as the truck hit it from an angle, so the passengers got knocked one way and then the other with each impact. There were a total of 8 passengers without seatbelts in the stretch. Add in projectiles like champagne bottles, glassware, and anything else that wasn't tied down, and you can imagine what it was like in there. The people who were taken away in the ambulance had lacerations and head injuries, mostly from banging into each other and being in the line of fire from flying debris. The folks I took home had minor concussions and were very shaken up. Still want to ride in a vehicle without your seatbelts on? I didn't think so. And while we're on the subject of accidents, here's a couple of stories that would have had a different ending if fates hadn't intervened. Like a pig on ice, I was heading back into the city after a drop in Westchester County and getting on the ramp to the Hutchinson River Parkway southbound. The people fly through this section like downhill racers. As I was coming down the ramp, I looked into the side view mirror and all of a sudden, the back of the car came around after hitting something slippery. I lost track of how many 360s I did across 3 lanes, but when the car finally stopped spinning, I was facing northbound on the southbound left side shoulder, 6 inches away from the Jersey barrier. I looked up and there was a stop line of cars watching me do my four-wheel figure skating impression. I was hoping for at least a 9 for not hitting anybody or doing any damage to the car, but no scores came from the judges. If the road was filled with the normal amount of traffic, that would have been at least a 10 to 15 car pileup, which is a great segue to the next story. A 40-car pileup. I'm working for a company that has 3 black stretches and 1 white stretch. The white one only goes out on weddings, no exceptions. Well, here's an exception. As I'm bringing clients back from the airport in one of the black stretches, the opera lights, those long and thin lights you see on the side of stretches, go out. Now during the daytime, that wouldn't bother me. But it's late, it's dark, and I don't want some knucklehead T-boning me because the fuse blew and he couldn't see a long black car in the dark. I dropped the clients off and ride carefully back to the shop with my 4-way flashes on. Knowing that I have a pickup in Newark, I call in and tell them the situation and ask that they prep the other stretch so it's ready to go. They tell me the bosses are out, so they ask me to call back while they run the quandary up the flagpole so the committee can vote on it. Just as they call me back, I'm pulling in and I see the white stretch prepped and ready to go. It's now about 8:30 p.m. and I throw my stuff in the other car and head down to Newark for the next run. As I'm coming across the George Washington Bridge, a light rain starts falling and I look down and the thermometer says 32 degrees. Uh-oh, I back it down a little. And just as I'm coming up to the crest of a rise with a downward bend to it, I see a line of stopped traffic that looks like it hit black ice on the long overpass that's coming up. With only a second to react, I grab the wheel with both hands, both feet are on the brakes, and my ass is off the seat. The stretch is sliding diagonally and heading for a stopped Honda Accord with a family of 4 in it. As I'm saying my oh shits and the adrenaline is coursing through my body, time starts moving very slowly. I see the guy to my left whose minivan just slammed under a tractor trailer that was stopped in front of him. He's frantically trying to get his seatbelt off because another tractor trailer is about to pancake the back of his van. He gets out in time, but he's in shock and starts running across the highway while cars are still crashing behind us. And when I finally came to a stop, I was less than a foot away from the Honda. The car behind me turned the wheel to the right and the one behind him pushed them into the Jersey barrier. I could still hear a few crashes behind me, but eventually everything became eerily quiet. I got out to check the stretch and then checked on the people around me. Nobody was hurt except for the passenger who was in the minivan wedged under the trailer. I got back in the car and called the dispatcher to let him know the situation. I ended up with the same jackoff that told me there was an apartment building in an industrial area. I'm in the middle of a major pileup, and from the looks of it, I can't tell you how long it's going to be before I'm out of here. Does he ask if I'm okay? Nope. He did ask me, did you do any damage to the car? Nah, car's fine. Thanks for asking. Okay, let me know when you start moving. Yeah, right. You'll be tucked in bed by then. It starts snowing, and I'm wondering when the earthquake, floods, and locusts are gonna come. I ran the car for a while to thaw out my body while I kicked myself for not grabbing something to eat before I left. The shit for brains dispatcher's calling me every few minutes asking me if I'm moving yet and how long do I think it's gonna be. This guy, while he's sitting in a warm office, doesn't get the detailed picture I've painted for him. He's more concerned about the clients waiting in Newark for a stretch that just ain't coming tonight. After about 3 hours, emergency personnel are starting to make their way to us on the local lanes to our right. The inclined road is so slippery that the vehicles are sliding sideways and the responders are falling like bowling pins. To extricate the passenger in the minivan, they have to raise the back of the trailer with timber and then cut her out. Just before they attempt to raise it, a fireman pops his head into the back of the stretch and says, "Hey buddy, you gotta get out, because if this trailer tips over, you and your limo are toast. Let's go. Now." I don't need to be told twice, so I get out and skate my way over to the guardrail to freeze my ass off and watch him work. It raised the minivan with enough wood to start a bonfire that could be seen for miles. finally got her out and into a waiting ambulance. I gave the all clear, and I got back in the stretch so I could defrost. It took another hour before they got up to my area to triage the vehicles that were damaged and release those of us who could move under our own power. As I weaved my way through over 2 miles of wreckage, I wondered how many people got hurt and if anybody was killed in this mess. I checked the papers the next day, and the story only merited 2 column inches. Sadly, one person was killed. After his car crashed, he got out, and to avoid getting hit by the car coming at him, he jumped out of the way and landed on the roadway below. Okay, that's enough of that. How'd you like those stories? If you did, please comment, subscribe, and spread the word. I'd really appreciate it. Until next time, take care and have a good one.
This podcast is a production of Testa40 Studios, and no content may be repurposed without express written consent.